was like 100 years of firefighting all at once.
Tonight, first responders battle to save neighborhoods in West Kelowna.
We had people trapped. That's the fire chief's worst nightmare.
Thousands of properties under evacuation orders or alerts.
It's just where I grew up. I think my house is gone.
Weather warnings include severe winds and the possibility of lightning. The evacuation of Yellowknife by plane or by road.
Everybody's leaving and praying and hoping for the best.
As fires get closer, the urgent plea to Canadians.
We need people to pay attention to it now. We need people to pay attention and remember this in the weeks and months to come as we rebuild. Don't forget about us.
This is The National with Ian Henemansing.
With dangerous wildfires tearing through communities in British Columbia, the Premier tonight has declared a state of emergency. The focus of so much attention is in the cities of West Kelowna and Kelowna, where firefighters are battling to save homes and other structures. The fire is aggressive, dangerous, fast-moving, and growing quickly. Add to that the wind. It's making the fire's movement unpredictable. Homes have been destroyed. Thousands of people have either been ordered to leave or put on alert. Fortunately, no loss of life has been reported. Right now, there are flames on both sides of Lake Okanagan. The newer flare-up is on the east side. That's the Kelowna side. It's believed to be an offshoot of the main fire. The danger is very real. The situation very volatile. Mira Baines is in Kelowna tonight. And Mira, we heard a lot from officials today about the immense challenges they're facing.
That's right, Ian. People here describe an eerie feeling going into another night of uncertainty. We've heard a lot over a long day of about how the fire's direction has changed so many times, and we've heard updates from officials, but they are expecting another long night. We're in a neighborhood in Kelowna where winds are picking up and there's heavy smoke in the air, but they are really unsure about what they're going to see tonight. The hills surrounding Lake Okanagan will be lit up again tonight. People anxious to know if their homes are still standing. Flames blown by strong winds, spitting out embers kilometers away.
Just to see the aggression and how the wind and the different colors of the flames and how they candled was just, I was just absolutely devastated and almost fell to my knees.
Evacuation orders expanded through the night and day. The McDougall Creek fire burned closer to West Kelowna as more fires started on the Kelowna side.
This went like a big ugly serpent over the hills and valleys and the crescents of the canyons, and then you see these homes with their lights on just underneath that.
Local officials say there have been significant losses, but how many buildings isn't clear. The situation is still too dangerous for crews to go in and assess the damage.
We fought 100 years worth of fires, all in one night.
West Kelowna's fire chief describes incredible efforts.
We undertook one of the biggest firefights I've ever been a part of in the West Kelowna Estates neighborhood. The firefighters who fought that fire held that ground.
No loss of life, according to officials, but another dire warning for people to leave if ordered to.
At this time, I'm asking British Columbians and tourists to avoid traveling to the central interior and southeast portions of the province if possible.
A catastrophic picture is emerging. Lake Okanagan Resort has burned down.
There's about 4 older apartment buildings on the resort property. The lowest one, the top half of it, was completely on fire.
But RCMP have told residents not to visit the evacuation zone by boat. The airspace above Kelowna International Airport is currently closed, and most flights are canceled. Evacuees are being urged to stay with family and friends.
The worst part is just the waiting at the evac center. They're short-staffed. They don't have enough volunteers.
We ended up being one of the last to leave because we were warning people. I was running door to door. It was scary. It was like running for your life.
And Mira, what could this newly declared state of emergency mean for people here in BC?
A state of emergency means the province could impose travel restrictions. And to give you an idea about the magnitude of this emergency, about 15,000 people are under evacuation order and 20,000 people are under evacuation alert. And as this situation evolves, Kelowna General Hospital is on code orange alert, which means staff are preparing for a potential disaster.
Mira, thank you. The CBC's Brady Strachan has lived in the Kelowna area for more than a decade. And Brady, I know you've been talking to a lot of folks there at the evacuation center. What have you been hearing?
Yeah, Ian, many people have been waiting here for quite a long time, waiting to get in to see what supports they can get, like a hotel room or food vouchers. And speaking to them, many of them spent the night, last night, overnight in their vehicles here, watching as these fires raged above their neighborhoods. So today there's a bit of anxiety here. And for some people, they fear that they may have even lost everything.
What are you doing here?
Just soaking in the last bit.
Pretty tough, eh? What's going through your mind right now?
It's just where I grew up.
And Ian, that young man, he told us he drove all the way back from Victoria to see his family's home. He's, of course, worried if it's even still standing now. Other people we talked to are worried about pets that got left behind and also what might be left of their neighborhoods when they're finally able to get back in there.
2003, Brady, that was the big fire in the Kelowna area, and I assume a lot of people tonight are thinking about that part of their history.
Yeah, Ian, many people here are talking about that. And of course, that fire was driven by strong winds and it destroyed more than 200 homes in the Kelowna area. We've got a lot of strong winds here. We're expecting them to pick up again, and we know we do have some structure loss here. This fire feels really big, and people are hoping that it's not as devastating as the fire of note in 2003. Ian?
All right, Brady Strachan, thank you so much. People not following orders is a critical concern in Kelowna right now. Some under evacuation order have not left, and officials highlighted that danger, describing scenes where the lives of emergency responders were put at risk while trying to save others.
Emergency responders, including the RCMP and BC Wildfire Service, stepped up and got those people out of the precarious situation they were in. And I'm very glad it turned out the way that it did, but it didn't have to be that way. We don't put evacuation alerts on because it makes our job easier or it's just something that we have to do procedurally. We do it because there's a very real risk that we need you to leave your homes with little to no notice. And last night was a prime example of that. As has been mentioned, we're not done yet either, so don't be complacent. That was just one of what was likely many situations that took place last night. In that case, they couldn't make it out because the fire had burned across and blocked the road that they were traveling on. In the neighborhood that they were in, there was only one way in and one way out. So great risk was taken to preserve life in that case. But there were, I'm sure, countless other cases. I know there were a number of people who were rescued out of the water at Traders Cove. And I don't have numbers or specifics on that. But again, that is definitely an option of last resort.
And in a few minutes, I'll speak to West Kelowna Fire Chief Jason Brolund about what's being done right now to save people and property. Evacuation orders in and around the Kelowna area could change quickly. For up-to-date information, you can go online to the Central Okanagan Emergency Operations. That is cordemergency.ca. On the maps page, you can search your address to see if you fall under an order or alert. So once again, cordemergency.ca. One other note from BC tonight. In the town of Scotch Creek, that's about 2 or 3 hours north of Kelowna, a very important wooden bridge has closed.
Oh, yeah, fire right by the bridge.
Well, this is the dramatic race to get across that bridge before it was closed down. The single-lane bridge links the North Shuswap to the Trans-Canada Highway. It's considered the most critical piece of infrastructure in that area.
Yeah.
The RCMP is now evacuating people by boat. Not clear right now how many people are in need of help. The noon evacuation deadline has come and gone in Yellowknife, another city under wildfire threat tonight. Officials say about 95% of the city residents have now left, and they're urging anyone who should have gone but haven't to do so now. At least 3,800 people left by plane, some lining up for hours to get a seat. Over 15,000 others gassed up to set off on a long and potentially treacherous road trip to Alberta, driving down the only highway out, with fire sometimes burning on both sides. That wildfire is one of several in the area, now about 15 kilometers from the edge of the city. And the worry is strong winds this weekend could push it closer. That threat and the possibility that road access could be cut off is what's driving this evacuation. Cameron McIntosh shows us what residents of Yellowknife are facing in their search for safety.
Procrastinator.
Right on the evacuation deadline, Frank Higgins gassing up, trying to keep his mood light.
Everybody's leaving and praying and hoping for the best, which the firefighters and everybody's doing a great job, no complaints.
He's not totally sure where he'll end up, just like dozens others, waiting on the last flights out, leaving behind a city nearly empty, guarded by fire breaks and sprinklers. The hope, the evacuation will free up firefighters concentrating on protecting the highway to help protect the city.
Right now, the wind is shifting. It's going to be a rough night tonight and into tomorrow. If we can get through it, though, we might turn a corner. But at this point, all we can do is wait and see what the fire does and if our fire breaks hold.
Meanwhile, that drive is tedious and slow. Fort Providence, Northwest Territories is the first major stop along the route. There, long lines for fuel and supplies.
It has been constant. This is not, it does not end. The circle that circled around the store twice, and they just keep coming and coming.
Getting to Alberta means going through the hamlet of Enterprise, already struck by fire. These are the stakes. And so, exhausted and shaken, Yellowknife is arriving at this Edmonton registration center.
So we're just gonna see what happens here.
The irony of standing in the rain here not lost on Susan Chanthalangsy and Linda Kunkong, who drove 24 hours, now hoping for hotel rooms as they register as evacuees.
We're playing it by day, basically by day and usually by hour.
Edmonton anticipates registering up to 5,000 people.
They get vetted by our registration people, and once they have signed in with us, then we'll direct them to Red Cross. Red Cross will try to get them into a hotel as quick as possible.
Many of the last flights went to Calgary, now reaching its capacity for evacuees. Those that made it here, just happy to get out.
It's not safe to be in Yellowknife.
Cam, you are in Edmonton tonight. How many people have been arriving there?
So Ian, here on the first day in the rain, more than 1,000 people have been registered at this registration center, with many more expected over the course of the weekend as more people complete what's amounting to be about a 24-hour journey from Yellowknife here into central Alberta. And all week we've been seeing communities around here open their doors only to reach capacity very quickly. In fact, tonight we're hearing Calgary is getting close, but still finding space for people, and there are still some evacuation flights that have to leave. The plan now is to send them to Winnipeg as the country looks to house an entire city. Ian?
Well, let's hope more places get more rain. Thanks, Cam. Let's check in now with Sarah Levitt, who's at the airport in Yellowknife. And Sarah, what's going on there?
Well, Ian, this is really the only busy part of town, with residents being bused to the tarmacs for those evacuation flights. Also busy are the workers in the perimeter of the city, digging ditches and clearing brush. I went to one neighborhood and I spoke to residents there who have been working for the last 48 hours to clear trees around their property. They also set up these elaborate sprinkler systems out towards those clearing areas, but also on their houses. They say they just wanted to protect their property before they head to safety. And then, of course, I spoke to some people who said they're not leaving. Either they don't think it's serious enough to leave, or they just feel like they want to protect their property and their city.
And there are some essential workers who are staying behind.
Yeah, like those healthcare workers at the hospital. The hospital itself is empty of patients. They were, in the last 48 hours, taken to other hospitals. But you know, then there are those that are protecting their communities. I met with one essential worker who was at the city fill station pumping his tanker full of water to take back to those working in the Yellowknife's Dene First Nation.
I'm worried about staying behind to save the community. I got like 12 guys working with me, hard working, setting up pumps, sprinklers.
So this is a stressful time for most people in the community. I spoke with one person who was filling her tank of gas when the gas station was open earlier today. She's an emergency dispatcher and she's not leaving.
In 2014, when the fire came within 30 kilometers, it was a little tense then, but nothing like what's happening right now. Nothing. So, but we're strong.
One thing I did notice, speaking with people though, Ian, was the level of positivity amid all this stress. But no doubt, the anxiety of what may happen to Yellowknife is still very high.
No question, Sarah. Thank you very much. Canada's long summer of wildfires has required action from the federal government. Today, ministers face questions about their response. Kate McKenna has that part of the story.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau showing his support for people displaced by fires.
The federal government is there with significant military assets. We're coordinating the air evacuations. We're making sure that we're there to respond to all the needs of community now.
His government says it's all hands on deck.
We're all going to get through this incredibly difficult summer together.
No one will be left behind. And so if for whatever reason a person is unable to evacuate either by road or by commercial flight, we'll make sure that we accommodate them.
The military is now operating evacuation flights. 79 residents of a long-term care home were taken to Edmonton with more planes ready to help.
We'll continue to focus on helping the most vulnerable, and we'll be there to help for as long as it takes.
Troops have been working since last weekend, firefighting and working to stop the blaze from reaching critical infrastructure.
We are working closely with our provincial and territorial partners to help with immediate response, and we'll be there through the recovery and rebuild process.
But as the military is called on more often to fight fires, some question whether there's a bigger role for the federal government, including whether the country should have a national firefighting force and its own fleet of water bombers.
When it comes to additional equipment, especially when it comes to aircraft, it is a little bit more complicated because you have to get in line for the various companies who are building the equipment. And what we also need to do is look at where are the resources best suited.
The federal government says it hopes this evacuation is just a precaution. It's focused on saving lives. It says it's willing to scale up the help on offer if the situation gets worse. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
Maui's head of emergency management has resigned following a backlash to his response to the deadly wildfires.
Do you regret not sounding the sirens?
I do not.
Island residents are outraged over his defense of not turning on the sirens when flames approached Lahaina. At least 111 people have been killed, though more than 1,000 remain unaccounted for. There's another warning tonight for those fleeing wildfires about the longer-term effect of fear and stress. As Alison Northcott tells us, mental health researchers say some real challenges could last long after the fires are put out.
Residents who have fled wildfires this summer have faced uncertainty, stress, and fear.
What's happening? We've just left our homes. We don't know when we're getting back.
I am so stressed out. This is the first time I've ever had to go through anything like this.
Mia Jean Scalzo left her home in Yellowknife with her parents and her 11-month-old daughter.
I've got very bad anxiety, so things like this send me into a big panic state.
There's a lot of uncertainty. You know, there's a lot of disbelief.
Oh my God, Sarah, this is gonna work out.
After the 2016 wildfires in Fort McMurray, a study looking at the mental health impact of those fires found some residents were still suffering even 5 years later.
I can feel the heat here.
People fleeing fires this summer should seek support from family and friends, says this psychiatry professor.
They should reach out to individuals within their community, family members. It's also important that they begin to seek professional help if they realize that their symptoms are lingering on.
It went from the bottom of the hill to the top in less than 5 minutes.
This is what Jay Telegdi saw before fleeing Fort McMurray in 2016.
Do you think we're in trouble here?
His home was destroyed and he struggled with PTSD.
But long term, the number one thing that helped me was talking about it. I talk about my mental health to anyone who will listen, and I don't think it's a taboo.
With Canada in the midst of a record-breaking wildfire season, the country needs to be better prepared so people know how to evacuate, what to bring, and have a plan to get out, says this Yellowknife ER doctor.
What we see is that preparation not only does good and practically keeps us safe, but it feels good because we know what to do, we know what our place is within the plan.
She says people fleeing their homes should be ready for a coping marathon to get through not only the uncertain first days, but the weeks and months ahead. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
In the U.S., officials are keeping a close eye on Hurricane Hilary, a Category 4 storm that could cause catastrophic damage. It's coming from the Gulf of Mexico, expected to hit California, where storm preps are underway. This would be the first storm of that magnitude in the state in nearly 84 years. Switching gears now, tonight there are concerns about a new COVID subvariant as an increasing number of people are testing positive for the virus. Ithel Musa looks at what might be coming as summer turns to fall.
For many fairgoers here at Toronto's annual CNE event, COVID is not exactly top of mind.
Once the CNE starts, it's kind of like back to life.
Just a summer treat.
There's a little card.
But there's been an increase in test positivity, and health experts say there's evidence the virus could be making a comeback.
There are some signs that we might be at the beginning of a wave.
According to public health data, the number of hospital beds occupied by COVID patients increased by 11% in Canada between August 9th and 15th.
We're not seeing a brand new variant that's rising as fast as Omicron did, for example. We're not seeing something hugely more severe. That said, you don't need more severity to cause a huge problem if you have a lot more numbers.
A contagious Omicron subvariant called EG.5 is circulating widely, and it may be fueling the surge. Experts are also seeing growing evidence of the virus in wastewater.
All of this cumulatively says that we are in for a wave. We know our neighbors to the south are in a pretty significant outbreak again, with caseloads really going up quite dramatically.
And it's all happening, say experts, while updated fall boosters wait for approval in Canada and the U.S. Many Canadians already have some form of protection from the virus because they were vaccinated, boosted, or previously infected. But the level of protection needed to avoid infection can fade over time.
You have a disconnect between what public health policy is planning and what the real world is doing. And that, of course, is going to be problematic.
In the absence of an updated booster, experts say there are still sensible things people can do to keep themselves safe. Self-test if you're feeling unwell and wear a mask if you're headed into a crowded space. Ithel Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
A neonatal nurse in the UK has been found guilty of multiple counts of murder.
She perverted her learning and weaponized her craft to inflict harm, grief, and death.
The case that has gripped Britain and the evidence that led to her conviction. Plus, a brazen car theft.
I hear a really loud bang, like boom.
Stopped in its tracks.
He realizes he's not getting this car.
He realizes he's not getting it, yeah.
The shocking confrontation, all caught on camera. And as thousands in BC are forced to flee, crews work to fight off the flames.
My firefighters and firefighters from across the province now are putting fires out with garden hoses that are being left in the yards because we're running from house to house.
West Kelowna's fire chief breaks down the scale of the operation and the urgent message for residents. We're back in 2. A nurse in Britain has been found guilty of murdering 7 babies and attempting to kill 5 others. From London, Margaret Evans takes us through the verdict and the reaction.
It was behind these walls in the neonatal unit of an English hospital that a killer chose her victims, cloaked in the trust that can come with a nurse's uniform. Lucy Letby, now convicted for the murder of 7 babies and the attempted murder of 5 others between 2015 and 2016, described by prosecutors from the start as a constant malevolent presence.
She perverted her learning and weaponized her craft to inflict harm, grief, and death.
This is nursery 2. Jurors heard that Letby injected some babies with insulin, some with air, and others were force-fed milk. For grieving parents, it has been an unending ordeal. Here, the mother of twins tells a BBC program how she found one of them crying out in pain before his death.
He had blood round his mouth, and Lucy was there, but faffing about, not doing anything.
Oh, Lucy, is it?
Yes.
Hello, my name.
Letby wasn't arrested until 2018. That's despite her being identified as the only nurse consistently on duty during all the unexplained incidents. Pediatric consultants who raised repeated alarm bells about the nurse say hospital managers ignored them.
We were urging them to investigate our concerns appropriately, and most of us felt the most appropriate way to do that would be to go to the police.
That didn't happen until 2017. When they did search Letby's house, they found baby's medical records and notebooks suggesting a troubled mind. One reading, "I'm evil, I did this." Jurors were unable to agree verdicts on the deaths of 5 other babies. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Concerns about a rise in car thefts in many Canadian communities, highlighted tonight by a brazen attempt in Brampton, Ontario. As Greg Ross shows us, this one was caught on video.
3 masked men approach a Brampton, Ontario home in the middle of the night. Moments later, they smash through the front door.
I hear a really loud bang, like boom.
18-year-old Gerbaj Sangera went downstairs and saw the 3 masked men inside his house. They started running and he chased after them.
And I'm screaming as I'm making my way over here, so hoping my brother or my dad, somebody hears.
The security video shows 2 of the men running away while another gets into an Audi parked in the driveway.
He's got the keys for this Audi right here.
Yeah. He has the keys, my brother has the other keys.
The man stole the keys from inside the house, but he wasn't able to start the car.
He realizes he's not getting this
He
car.
realizes he's not getting it, yeah.
So he tries to run.
He tries making a run for it.
He doesn't get very far.
My brother, my dad, and me are surrounding him, trying to, get him to the ground and stuff.
They were able to pin the man down until police arrived and arrested him. This family was lucky. Many of their neighbors were not.
From August of last year until August of this year, from what I could find, that 4 auto thefts on that street specifically.
It has residents taking extra precautions.
It goes under the seat, go to the brake pad, and then lock it.
So you're essentially locking the brake pedal in place so they can't push it down.
Yeah.
This man also uses a second lock on his steering wheel.
This community now I feel is not safe.
Are you worried that they might come back?
Yeah, most definitely, yeah. Because we caught one of their guys, so most definitely, yeah.
Residents here say something needs to be done before someone gets hurt. Greg Ross, CBC News, Brampton.
Wildfires have moved in on West Kelowna, causing significant damage and, for a time, trapping some residents.
Please do not wait. There's just too much at risk.
My interview with the city's mayor on the state of the evacuation and what's being done to keep people safe. As Canada deals with a healthcare crisis, skilled workers abroad are lining up.
Getting this opportunity will changes my life. Going to a country like Canada.
Kayla Hounsell takes us to Kenya and talks to those ready to help. The National takes you deeper into the story shaping our world.
This unprecedented situation has come to a head this evening.
The Premier of British Columbia declaring a provincial state of emergency tonight. It comes after another punishing day of trying to push back wildfires. The flames and smoke triggered new evacuation orders and alerts, including in the Kelowna-area. The fire chief of West Kelowna, Jason Brolund, saw his firefighters and other first responders on the front lines and described what he saw last night like fighting 100 years of fires in one night. Chief, first of all, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Help us understand what it's been like in West Kelowna. Describe, what you saw and what you saw your firefighters doing.
Well, we had very little time to prepare. We used the time to plan and warn people, but when the fire came, it exceeded everyone's expectations in its ferocity and its speed. And it came into town in multiple places. So it all happened very fast. My firefighters did what they were trained to do. We executed our plan, but we asked an incredible amount of almost 10,000 people to get out of the way of this fire.
But of course, not everybody did. And you've talked about the fact that first responders in West Kelowna were put at risk, rescuing some people at least who didn't comply with the evacuation order. Describe for me one of those incidents.
Well, last night, as the fire approached one area of the community, it burned across a road. And when that happened, my first reaction was, well, we've evacuated that neighborhood. But word came quickly that not only were some firefighters, but also some police officers trapped behind that line. They had gone there to rescue someone who chose not to leave. And that created, obviously, a situation of immense personal risk for them, risk to our operation. We needed to devote resources away to rescue those people. We'll risk a lot to save a lot, and that night they did risk a lot. But they drove through the fire, rescued the people, but it didn't have to be that way.
What's your biggest fear, or maybe you're not somebody who has fear, but maybe it's source of anxiety going into tonight?
Well, today, like last night, has been a very difficult day. We've seen extreme fire behavior again. We have fire burning in neighborhoods, and we're doing our best to keep it out of houses. My firefighters and firefighters from across the province now are putting fires out with garden hoses that are being left in the yards because we're running from house to house. So tonight will be another challenging night. This fire is spectacular, but spectacular in a very bad way. The glow in the sky, the embers, the feeling of awe and dread is what the community can expect tonight. But they can also expect we're going to have 90 personnel on the ground out there working hard to fight this fire. But it's going to be it's been a rough day, and it's going to be a rough night.
Well, I think you know this. A lot of people across the country have a lot of respect for what your firefighters and other first responders are doing and the way you've been able to explain to us what's been happening. Chief Brolund, thank you very much, and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Well, another very busy person who is able to spare us a few minutes is the mayor of West Kelowna, Gord Milsom. And Mayor, let me start with a question I just asked your fire chief. What's your biggest concern heading into tonight?
Well, geez, we don't know, what's going to happen as far as the winds and whatnot are concerned. But I guess my biggest concern is obviously the safety of our public. So if we do have more evacuation orders, it's really important that our residents that are affected by those orders leave their homes immediately.
Yeah, I think that's something that's been puzzling to a lot of people, is hearing stories about those who have decided to stay behind for whatever reason, and first responders being put at risk to end up rescuing some of those people. So if any of them are watching now, whether they're in West Kelowna or in some other evacuation zone, and they're not leaving their home, speak to them directly. What would you say?
Well, you're risking your own lives, your family's lives, as well as the first responders. So please leave your homes as soon as an order is made, and come to the emergency services center, register. But please do not wait. There's just too much at risk.
For the people who did comply with the evacuation orders and who are wondering tonight or tomorrow whether their house is still standing, when will they get that information, Mayor?
I don't have a particular timing on that. I know that our firefighters are focused on saving homes, and fighting the fire. The battle's going to go on throughout the night, and I don't think our firefighters will have an opportunity to do proper assessments for some time. So I can't provide a time frame at all as far as that type of notification, unfortunately.
One last thing, Mayor. West Kelowna is a relatively small community. It's been hit hard by this fire. We don't know yet. We haven't heard the number of structures that have been destroyed. Do you worry at all about the future of your city?
Yeah, we're one of the fastest growing communities in Canada. There's about 40,000 residents here. We're going upwards as far as our trends and whatnot. But sure, I mean, it's gut-wrenching to think of the impact of this fire on our residents, the potential loss of structures and whatnot. Yeah, I'm really concerned about the impact on our community.
There's a lot of concern and support for your community and other communities hit by fires across the country. So I know you're busy, and I appreciate the time you're giving us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
As we've mentioned, evacuation orders in and around the Kelowna-area can change quickly. So for up-to-date information, you can go online to the Central Okanagan Emergency Operations. On the Maps page, you can search your address to see if you fall under an order or alert. That's at cordemergency.ca. Healthcare workers in Africa are looking to come to Canada, and provinces are trying to open up their doors.
Reality is we need healthcare professionals, and places like Kakuma have the people and the skills that we need.
The program that could change lives, and what's slowing it down? Canada's shortage of healthcare workers is dire. Communities big and small are searching for doctors, nurses, and personal care workers. The federal government says a new pilot project aims to fill the gaps by offering jobs to refugees currently in Kenya. Earlier this year, Kayla Hounsell went to see them and found that years after being selected for the program, those workers were still waiting for the green light.
Patricia Kamsor has seen it all. She's a healthcare worker. So is Abdi Fatah Sabreya. They're also refugees, and they've been invited to come work in Canada, among around 120 refugees who have been offered jobs as continuing care assistants in Nova Scotia.
It is a dream come true.
They live in the UN's Kakuma refugee camp in northwestern Kenya, home to more than 260,000 people, people who have fled violence in neighboring African countries.
How long have you lived here?
14 years.
In this same place?
In this place, yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
When he was a teen, he fled Somalia with his mother, 2 sisters, and 2 brothers, after their father and eldest brother were killed in the Civil War.
My dad at that time, he was someone who need emergency medical, and he didn't get it through it, as well as my brother. Yeah, that motivated me to become a healthcare worker.
Patricia Kamsor came here without her family, separated when violence erupted while she was at boarding school in her home country, Sudan.
I was young, but I was strong, really strong. I had to think where to protect myself, even if I've not got my family.
So you don't know where they are?
You can't get connection. I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Do you know if they're alive?
I even don't know because I didn't go connect with anyone.
It's been 11 years, and she's been working in healthcare most of that time.
And I like helping people. Actually, I have that heart of helping people.
Kamsor and Sabreya are set to work at a brand new nursing home in Mahone Bay on the province's south shore. Population just over 1,000. I gave Sabreya his first glimpse of a blustery Canada.
It's winter. Very snow.
What do you think?
Very good.
You think that looks good?
Yeah. I've never seen it.
The jobs are possible under a new federal program that has taken off in Nova Scotia.
Hi, Suzanne.
We contacted Suzanne Lee to find out why, She's one of the people tasked with finding creative ways to solve the province's shortage of healthcare workers. And she was part of a provincial recruitment team that traveled to Kakuma last fall.
Reality is we need healthcare professionals, and places like Kakuma have the people and the skills that we need.
Some people might be worried that we're somehow taking away from people here, that this is contributing to the so-called brain drain or the poaching of healthcare workers. What would you say to people who have those concerns?
Look, great question. And one of the things we're always thinking about as we're recruiting healthcare professionals is how are we doing it ethically, right? And because of their circumstances, they don't have the opportunities that other folks in their host country may have.
Most of the people who have been selected to come to Nova Scotia got their experience in healthcare here in the refugee camp at clinics run by the International Rescue Committee. So let's go see what they do here. Kamsor is here 6 days a week. She makes roughly 135 Canadian dollars a month. Yes, just over $100 a month. But it helps buy extra food when the distributions from the World Food Program run out. In Nova Scotia, she'll make around $3,000 a month. Part of what makes this program unique is that people will arrive in Canada as permanent residents, not as refugees and not on temporary work permits. They have to meet the same criteria as traditional economic immigrants. That means demonstrating their experience in healthcare and a proficiency in English.
My word is to assure the Canadian that the people that they are recruiting from a Kakuma refugee camp, they are people who have really qualified.
Michael Ikuru is responsible for training here. He also says he's not worried about losing staff because he has a lineup of others waiting.
So we are very grateful that you are coming and picking. What I can even ask is to take many of them so that we also have an opportunity to train.
For Sabrea, it's already been a long time since he got that email saying he was in.
I was very pleased at that moment. Yeah, getting this opportunity which changes my life, going to a country like Canada, which I used to dream it. Yeah, that moment I was like I was going tomorrow.
He laughs at the memory, but the reality has been difficult.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago. The program was very long. We have to go step by step.
Kamsor has also met all of the requirements. What do you know right now about when you get to go?
I actually don't know when I will actually go.
They haven't told you anything?
They have not told us anything. We're still waiting.
Nova Scotia blames the pandemic for part of the delay and the fact it's a brand new program. The federal government says it is committed to processing most permanent residency applications linked to this program within 6 months. That time is already up for Sabrea and will be for Kamsor in 5 days. Do you believe that you will really get to go?
Actually, I can't predict it because though I believe that with the long process I've gone through, it may happen.
You don't sound sure.
I'm not sure because, you know, there's nothing that will make me believe it all or know that I will go. Something may come up again.
But they are patient. They have, after all, spent half their lives waiting for the days to pass, waiting for a chance, a path to a new life.
And since Kayla's story first aired, both of the Kenyan healthcare workers have received the permanent residency needed to work in this country. Kayla tells us both should be arriving in the next 2 months. As we enter another difficult night for thousands in British Columbia, the continued efforts to protect the province and the people within it.
We were warning people. I was running.
The stories of those forced to flee and the people staying behind to fight the flames. As British Columbia declares a state of emergency due to wildfires, thousands have been ordered to leave their homes. The stories that are emerging detail dangerous escapes and also what's confronting those left behind to fight the flames. We leave you now with some of those. That is The National for August 18th. Good night.
We ended up being one of the last to leave because we were warning people I was running door to door. It was scary. I've lived in Kelowna for 15 years, but there's been fire, but nothing like this. This is horrendous. It's frightening.
We're in downtown Kelowna and the west side is burning like crazy.
Somebody described it to me last night in the heat of the battle as it was like 100 years of firefighting all at once.
Yeah, the smoke plume's just way bigger and it's moved way more towards houses.
Outside the front door, we could see the fire, we could see the smoke. I've honestly never seen it this bad, and it's really concerning. Like, we are entirely surrounded by flames at this point.
It really kind of held my words back, and you know, you see the community where your family grew up and you say, well, this may be the last time not only to see my home or my community, let alone the beauty of the forest and the trees and the trails and the lakes.